Okay, today in our first demo, we're going to look at some of the different ways that the windows and the palettes are set up in Blender so that we can be comfortable setting up our workspace in the way that works for us. This is a default view coming in through the main viewport when we first fire up the app, and you can see that there are already some palettes on the left side of the screen and the right side of the screen. A good thing to do right off the top of the bat is your left mouse button. If you hover over any division between palettes or windows, you can see that it turns into this little line, and if you click with your left mouse button at that point, you can shrink those up or pull them out to make them take up more or less space. The plus arrows here, these little plus symbols, if you click on those, they will expand out something which is hidden, and the way to hide those back after you do that, because there is no minus that goes along with the plus, is again to hover over the border area and just close it all the way down. So anytime you close down a specific area all the way, you will end up with a plus, and that's how you bring it back. Another thing to notice is that each main viewport window area within Blender has a drop-down associated with it, which determines what type of current editor you are using in that window. You'll notice that there are a few around the area where you're working now. If you kind of hunt around, you can see them, and they refer to the window associated with this editor type. Remember though that sometimes they refer to the area below, as in when you're dealing with properties, and sometimes they refer to the area above. So that can be a little tricky to get at first. If you're dealing with a 3D workspace, the drop-down for the content editor type is below the window that it's talking about. The same is true for the timeline. The editor type is below the timeline, but on properties, for example, it's above the properties. So in every window we'll have a drop-down to display what you want to show in that area, and you can change that, but it's good to remember that it might be on the top or it might be on the bottom. A quick way to figure out how many kind of window areas you have within here is just to count the number of these drop-downs that you have. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and you can count those across here too and figure out the total number of windows that you've divided your space up into. A tricky one is the one on the top, because this is the information. It's set currently to the little I, which is the properties or information about the entire file that you're working on. And when you change it, you don't really see anything change except the options in this border area here. That's because actually that window is closed up at the top by default. If you toggle this back to the original info, you will see that as you start to manipulate your area down here, you'll see the Python code behind which is running, which is kind of nice to have there. But you can also just close this back up, and then it provides a kind of what you're probably used to as menus across the top of your application that let you do things like file, save, open a new document, or quit the application. One thing you might want to do when you first start out working with Blender is make sure that your mouse is working correctly. So if you do not have a 3-button mouse, the way that you can set up Blender to still work for you is to go to File and User Preferences, and then go to the Input tab in that area and turn on Emulate 3-button mouse. This will let you use the Alt or Option key on your keyboard to emulate that 3rd button. I'm going to close this window back down now so that we can go into the next part of this kind of getting comfortable and getting used to the interface here video recording.